خلاص نتوكل على الله ونبدأ إحنا.
Al-
فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
eh,
We are happy today to meet for the Arenina webinars, and it's a great pleasure to share this first session that will be presented by Professor Firas Ahmed Al-Zayyoud. It will be on why integrated pest management should be urgently applied and what are the tactics of the integrated pest management. Just to give a brief idea about our dear Professor Firas. He is a professor of biology, control, and IPM, integrated pest management, at the Department of Plant Protection and IPM, Faculty of Agriculture, Muqta University, Jordan. Professor Al Zayyoud obtained his BS in plant protection in 1994. Mashallah, he's still young, and his
Thank you
MS
very much.
in entomology in 1997. Mashallah alaik, Doctor, from the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Jordan. His PhD was in biological control and integrated pest management from Bonn. Mashallah, Doctor, from Bonn University, Germany in 2005. He taught 22 different courses, mainly IPM, biological control, principles of IPM, pesticides, entomology, beekeeping. Mashallah, we will learn a lot from you, Doctor, today. Economic pest, economic insects, beneficial insects, medical. Mashallah, I mean, he really holds great knowledge, and I believe we will really enjoy his presentation today. His research interests include the IPM and biological control and of economically arthropod pests. Professor Al Zayyoud published 66 scientific papers in local, regional, and international journals. In addition, he published 21 abstract and 12 poster at different conferences. Furthermore, Professor Al Zayyoud is a referee and or a member of the editorial board in many journals. Mashallah, Doctor. He has awarded GTZ scholarship for his master degree and CAD scholarship for his PhD, grants to conduct research in Bonn University, financed by CAD in 2009, DFG in 2010, and DAD in 2012. He has participated in a huge number of workshops, and he was a member of Muqta University. I love this university, by the way, Doctor. I visited Muqta University.
Thank you so
So
much.
he's a member of Muqta University Council for many academic year and a member of the scientific and organizing committee of many conferences. Thank you very much, Professor Firas, for your time today and for the very interesting and nice topic that we'll be presenting. And floors is yours, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hind Al-Mahmoudi, and also thank you for your compliment or many compliments for introducing me. Good day, everyone. I will talk in English language, but so important to me to start with. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. In the name of Allah and peace be upon Muhammad. I'm Firas Al-Zayyoud from Muqta University, Jordan. Firstly, and it's so important for me to, or I'd like to thank Arenina and His Excellency Professor Rida Shibli for giving me this opportunity today to talk about why integrated pest management should be urgently applied and what are the tactics or approach of integrated pest management. The main challenge of the world is to increase the agricultural productivity in a sustainable manner. It's well known for us that high pest pressure, pesticide misuse, global warming, water scarcity, land degradation, loss of biodiversity, decreased ecosystem services have all serious consequences on food security and life on the earth. These factors that I have already mentioned have already cut into the global food supply and could lead to a dramatic or sharp drop in global production. Meeting food demands of billions of people will not be easy. We should work together to find solutions to the challenge facing agriculture production. To increase agricultural productivity, developing new techniques must go hand in hand with education and extension services to share improved production technologies with the target people who are farmers and responsible for increase this agricultural production. The world or we will still so far from solving the problem of food security. Why? Because the projections show that feeding the whole population of about 9 to 10 billion people in 2050 would require raising the overall food production by at least 70% in the developed countries, while in the developing countries, the production or agricultural production should be doubled. In the past, is completely different from nowadays or the time being. Nowadays, human and environmental safety must be a part of every pest management decision. Quantity and quality of agricultural crops are affected by several or hundreds of pests that found in the agroecosystem. And nationwide or at the global scale, pests are responsible for annual losses estimated at 30 to 50% of the total production. However, in these days, pest control must be characterized by two main points: economically visible, environmentally or ecologically sound. In part two, I would like to talk about why integrated pest management should be urgently applied. The main method of pest control adopted by the majority of farmers nationwide is the misuse of pesticides. In the past, pesticides helped the world meet growing food demands by increasing agricultural productivity through controlling pests. But nowadays, however, the complete dependency, intensive use, massive use, abuse of pesticides in modern agriculture cause their widespread diffusion to all environmental compartments, including a wide range of organisms up to human. It's well known for us that ideally a pesticide, when it was manufactured, must be lethal to the target pest, but not to the target organism or beneficial insects. Unfortunately, over all the world and globally, this is not the case, and the use and abuse of pesticides have been completely or totally surfaced. Growers use pesticides without full understanding of their impacts on human health and environment. And here it's so important for us to know why we reach to the stage of integrated pest management or the phases of integrated pest management. This is so as to understand why, if we know that the patterns of crop protection over time classified in agriculture into the following phases. The oldest one from the standpoint of plant protection is the subsistence phase. The crop is usually grown without irrigation, without the use of pesticides or fertilizers, characterized by low yield and just consumed in the village. And this was in the past. After that, the exploitation phase. The pests mainly depend on intense use of pesticide or heavily use of pesticide, then protect the agricultural protection from pests, and then increase the yield of agricultural productivity and reach to the market. And after this intense and heavy use of pesticides, then we come to the crisis phase, in which more frequent application of pesticides, or between two parentheses, high number of applications per year, the farmer use higher doses of pesticides, then pests gradually become resistant to pesticides. This leads to the production cost is get increased. And now come the fourth phase is the disaster phase. The cost of cultivation got increased and the crop were not grown economically due to the increased cost and intensive use of pesticide. And it's well known for us that pesticides are costly. There were no crop, there were many frequent crop failures. And the most important thing in the disaster phase is the produce rejection due to pesticide residues, which is a main issue on using pesticide in agriculture production. Finally, collapse of the whole existing pest control system. Thus, due to the collapse of the pest control system, the integrated pest management phase is the only foreseen solution. Integrated pest management is the use of multiple methods for optimizing pest control in an ecologically or environmentally and economically sound manner. Now let us ask ourselves, why to use integrated pest management, or why we have to use integrated pest management at the time being, and not just to keep or still keep using pesticides. The massive or intensive abuse of pesticides led to a huge side effects. I will give here just examples. There are hundreds of thousands. For example, resistance of pests to pesticides, secondary pest outbreaks, rapid resurgence of spray pests, hazards to agricultural workers, pesticide residues on food crops, vegetables, and fruits. Furthermore, another issue, pesticide residues in tissues, organs, milk, or eggs of either cattle, goats, sheep, or chicken have been reported globally. Also, pesticides increase pollution to soil, water, and air. According to the WHO, about 1 million accidental poisoning with pesticides are reported annually or yearly, with more than 300,000 deaths. The economic impact of pesticides on non-target species, including humans, has been estimated at 8 billion annually in developing countries like our countries, $10 billion in the United States of America, and $30 billion in Europe. Furthermore, exposure to pesticides is linked to human health effects. I will just give here some example: immune suppression, reproductive abnormalities, nervous system disorders, cancer, asthma, diabetes, infertility, and many others. Pesticides have adversely affected natural enemies, birds, wildlife, fish, beneficial soil microorganisms, honeybees, phytotoxicity, ozone depletion due to the use of methylbromide, and loss of biodiversity. In addition, pesticides affect negatively on the productive insect like silkworm, as we see here, honeybees, lac insects. And the most important one is the effect of pesticides on the useful insect that can be used by a human being to eat. It's well known until now there are about 1,460 recorded species of edible insects that can be eaten by humans. Also, pesticides affect on parasitoids and predators, the core of integrated pest management, and weed killers and soil builders. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for us these soil builders in order to improve the soil chemical and physical properties. Furthermore, scavengers are negatively affected by pesticides. Scavenger is the most important players in clean the agro ecosystem or our environment by consuming the dead animals and decaying plant materials, then leave the human being to live in a healthy environment. And the most important and serious point, that pesticides destroy most of pollinators. There are 200,000 species of insects around the world that act as pollinators. Insect pollinates 80% of the crop plants grown worldwide. It has been calculated that 1/3 or 33% mouthfuls of food we eat is provided or gifted to us by insects. Insects provide ecosystem services only from pollination, worth at least a huge amount of money. And if you see here, worth at least $250 to $600 billion per year globally. Thus, in conclusion for this part, or the first part of my seminar, the majority of farmers do not understand the harmful effects of pesticides or that pesticides have on health and the environment. They usually overestimate their benefits and use higher doses and more frequent number of applications than necessary. Thus, developing alternative to pesticides and increasing farmers' awareness and knowledge about the negative impact of pesticides are urgently needed. A missing point in integrated pest management is the extension. The link between science and farmer, is the only effective way of promoting or increase the rate of adoption of integrated pest management. To make such an impact, policymakers, leaders of agriculture ministries or agricultural ministries, head of plant protection institutions, leaders in extension, need to sit together and find solution of pest problems. However, in part two, I would like to talk about integrated pest management benefits and principles. Some of us or all of us know that sustainable agriculture is a key element in sustainable development and essential for the future of a human being. Sustainability aims to or at achieving adequate, safe, and healthy food production. Integrated pest management is used to manage pests by the most economical means to reduce the cost of agricultural production and least hazards to human environment. Governmental officials, universities, researchers, extension specialists have worked together under the umbrella of integrated pest management to establish improved pest management tactics. However, in spite of all of these efforts, the adoption of integrated management or the adoption of integrated pest management is so slow and the adoption rate is very low. And large areas under agriculture production still until now suffer from intense use of pesticides. There are many benefits of applying integrated pest management programs. Once I apply integrated pest management program, I will have economic benefits. Using integrated pest management will reduce the use of pesticide cost. By reducing pesticide cost, I will increase the income of farmers and their families also. Also, environmental benefits. Reducing the use of pesticide will lead dramatically to reduce the chances of environmental contamination and human health problems. Furthermore, knowledge benefits. allow the growers to determine the seriousness of their problems and take the action when it's only necessary. In order to apply a successful integrated pest management program, it's so important for us to know the four main principles of integrated pest management, that are understanding the agroecosystem, correct pest identification, monitoring methods, and the economic threshold level. And the biotech components of the agroecosystem that should be taken into account once I would like to apply a successful integrated pest management program is the plant, the pest, and the natural enemies, epitope components, temperature, moisture, fertilizers, and many others. Concerning the plant, we should study the plant phases or periods of growth and development in relation to the pattern of pest problems to see when the pests occur in which phase of plant growth and development, to have the decision to make the control action or not. Also, it's so important for us to know pest population trends, morphology, biology, behavior, and chronology. All of these should be or must be taken into account or consideration in any integrated pest management program. Also, categorizes of pests. Integrated pest management mainly concern or interested in key pests, the pests that occur annually and need to apply a control action, whether pesticides or other methods, annually. Also, natural enemies. It's so important for me to take care about natural enemies before applying pesticides or any control action. So important for me to study and see if a given area or a field or a greenhouse have natural enemies or not, in order not to destroy them and leave these natural enemies to build up their population successfully so far from the destructive pesticides. Also, knowing an important point in integrated pest management, that we have to look for not just only the biotic factors, also for the environmental factors, because change in the weather condition can be either helpful or harmful to pest population, reduce, increase, or decrease the population. An understanding of such factors or relation between these epitope factors and population trends of the pest will help us to understand how to control any insect successfully. And here we have temperature, moisture, fertilizers. Also, pest identification is very important to determine the type of pest, because as I said before, that integrated pest management focus only on the key pests. And another important point to be mentioned, that because incorrect identification can result in ineffective pest management control measure. Also, to determine when the pest is at a stage of danger to the crop. For monitoring early detection of a pest problem is the key element and the first step that should be followed in any integrated pest management program. We have, and we used to say that early detection of any pest will lead to a successful control. A delay in detection will lose the control action, and the pest will damage more than we are expected. There are many methods of control, such as visual examination, pheromones, color, sticky light, water traps, field history, recording climatic data, using thermal imaging to monitor physiological changes occurring in trees due to pest infestation. And this is in the case of red balm weevil. Also, chemical detection by using trained dogs, like what happened in Europe to detection the red balm weevil, and using degree day model, and here example the codling moth. Economic threshold should be followed in integrated pest management. I have to calculate and know the exact economic threshold level for a given plant, a given pest, in order to or for decision making to start the control or not. And it's well known the economic threshold level, the pest density, that if the pest is reached, then it will cause damage to economic damage to the crop. However, in the last part, I will talk about integrated pest management tactics. So far, so I know I'm mentioning here 16 different tactics or approach or methods of integrated pest management, such as cultural control, mechanical and physical control, chemical control, trapping or insect attractants, especially pheromones, resistant plant varieties, genetically modified plants, insect growth regulators, insect repellents, and antifeedants, plant extract as bioinsecticide, biological control, which is the core of integrated pest management, microbial control, entomopathogens, legal control, genetic control like sterile insect techniques and gene silencing technology. This is a new technology, is tried now. I don't know if they apply it in the field or not, but many or some experiments are already conducted in the lab in order to control the red palm weevil, and geographical information system should be utilized in integrated pest management programs in the the time being or in the near future. The cultural control, it's well known for us, the cultural control is used since thousands of years ago, and the oldest agricultural control method. But due to the hazards of pesticides, the interest in cultural control methods is renewed and now form an important component of integrated pest management. I listed here some of these cultural control, like crop rotation, deep plowing in summer, push pull technology. This is so important, and man, people since I think since 5 to 6 years ago until now is used in Africa, Asia, Europe to control the fall worm on maize or corn. Also adjusting planting and harvesting dates. For example, the cotton white fly, Pimisi, whether in greenhouses generally or in tomato and cucumber, the destruction, crop residues, solarization, to get rid of this methyl bromide, systematic cutting and removal of infested plant parts using seeds and seedlings which are free of pests, in order not to start applying pesticide or fungicide or nematicide after a growing or after emergence of the plant, pruning or pruning of the highly infested crops when it's necessary in order not to destroy the environment. And this case was happen in Iran in order to control the cereal leaf miner on wheat and barley. For the mechanical and physical control, we have some methods here, and there are many, but I just select the most important one here: hand picking of large insects and killing them, collection and extraction of fallen infested fruits, reduce pest population. And this is so important to be followed for the codling moth on apple, and also for the olive fruit fly to collect the fallen fruits in order not to be a breeding sites for the next generation of the pest within the same year or the infestation in the next year. Furthermore, shaking of trees will let the insect to drop down, then collect them and kill them. And here I can give the example, all of bacilla periods at the door of greenhouses or windows will prevent insects from get into the greenhouses, or if I greenhouses here, example that the spider mite. Bagging of some fruit will reduce and help in controlling insect in order not to apply more pesticides like in grapevine. sieving or cold and heat treatments against stored grain pests, especially to control weevils. Chemical control. Many people are not to understand that the integrated pest management means the use of non-chemical control method, and this is not correct. It is unlikely that until the time being, while I'm talking to you people, that it's unlikely that alternative methods of control alone will maintain pest population before or below the economic threshold level, but through careful integration with pesticide, it could represent a significant sustainable control. Taken into account, and it's worth mentioning that our approach to use the pesticide should be pragmatic. In other words, all activities concerning pesticides should be based on the scientific judgment and not on the commercial consideration to get more money and destroy the human health environment. Farmers overall, or at the global scale, they overestimate their benefits and use higher doses, improper application time, and high number of pesticide applications more than necessary. There is a need, thus, as a result, there is a need to intensify researchers, extension specialists, farmer relationship to improve farmer knowledge and the pesticide use in pest control through education, training programs for farmers, farmer field schools, public awareness and enforcement of laws concerning the use of pesticides. Here, how to work off or on insecticide within integrated pest management. If I would like to use any pesticide in integrated pest management program, this pesticide should be or should have the following characters: specific pesticide, non-persistent pesticide, systemic pesticide, biopesticide. Time of application depend on 6 pheromone traps. In order just to spray, for example, greenhouse or greenhouse tomatoes 2 times or 3 times enough, better than if I select the right correct time, better than spraying, for example, 10 times with no benefits. Also, to follow the spot treatment of a spot treatment on the field with high pest infestation and leave the other parts or rest of the field or greenhouse for the natural enemies to build up their population successfully. Also, the pesticide should not be phytotoxic to the crop and be less harmful to humans, animals, bees, and fish. The fourth method or approach of integrated pest management, and this is so important, is insect attractants and pheromones or trappings. And here we have in general 4 different methods within this trapping. Mass trapping. Mass trapping means for us to install a high number or high density of traps in a given in a crop or a given area or a unit area. Thus, this high number of traps will remove a high portion of pest population. Then it will reduce the pest population. And the second one is mating disruption. Mating disruption by saturating the atmosphere with the synthetic female pheromone to prevent pest mating. Once the pest mating will be prevented, then this will reduce the pest population. Also, lure and kill technology. To use any attractor to lure pests to the trap and kill them by any killing agent. And then the new one, what I mean, it might be since 5 or 10 years ago, attract and infect strategy, similar to lure and kill, but here, just to attract the insect to the pest or insect pest to the trap, and then infect it within the trap with a fungus. And the well-known or the already tested one is Beauveria pascinia. And here, one point to be mentioned, that we have to allow adults to leave the trap in enough healthy condition so that the adults have the chance to find a mate to transfer the fungus to the other individuals of the same species. The efficiency or trap efficiency depends on manufacturers and should be taken into account and play an important role in order to increase its efficiency, like design, color, placement, and density. In conclusion, for this part, the beneficials of using trapping in general, early detection of infestation, accurate location of infestation, indicate the severity of infestation, help in the optimal timing of control to reduce the number of applications, check the efficiency of control and reduce the amount and number of pesticide applications. Also here, I'd like to talk about resistant plant varieties as a fifth method or tactic of integrated pest management. Host plant resistance has been recognized as being one of the most economic, safe to environment, durable, sustainable, and maintain natural balances within the ecosystem, and it can be considered as an ideal component of integrated pest management. A plant, by the way, has many defense mechanisms to pest attack, like physical resistance, hairiness, hardness, thickness, and chemical resistance that can be manipulated in order to let the plant to be tolerate or resistance to pests like pH, sugar content and oxalic acid. And concerning oxalic acid content or level, we conducted a study in Jordan to see or to check or investigate the relationship between oxalic acid content and the infestation by the cereal leaf miner on wheat and barley. And it was found that once the oxalic, or there is a negative correlation between, negative correlation between the oxalic acid content and the infestation. Once the oxalic acid content on the leaf of wheat or barley is increased, then the infestation by the cereal leaf miner will decrease, and then we can for example, work further on this issue in order to improve a variety which is variety or varieties which are resistant to at least or tolerate to a certain level the damage by cereal leaf miner. And here, methods of plant resistance in general, we have three: antibiosis, that the plant affect on the biology of the pest by toxic compounds and increase the mortality. Agnosis, then the plant will repel the insect, or the pest will not prefer the plant, or the plant will not be preferred by the pest. And tolerance, use varieties that have the ability to recover the infestation by vigorous growth of the plant. The sixth method of control or in tactics of integrated pest management is the genetically modified plants or transgenic plants. A genetically modified plants contain a gene or genes which have been artificially inserted instead of a plant occurring them through pollination. Genetically modified plants produce insecticidal proteins continuously under field conditions that are enough to kill the pest. Using genetically modified plants leads to a lower number of pesticide application, or even no need to apply pesticides to the crop. Also, genetically modified plants having PT genes are a novel application technique. It's worth mentioning that over 75% of the cotton growing areas in the United States of America, China, India are now sown by or with genetically modified cotton. The most dangerous pest or insect pest on cotton is the boll weevil on cotton. This pest was completely eradicated and suppressed by the adoption of Bacillus thuringiensis cotton varieties. Furthermore, Insect growth regulators are chemicals or compounds that disturb insect growth, development, molting, diapause, or other emergence. Instead of killing indirectly, insect growth regulators just prevent the, for example, the larvae or the pupae from reaching to the adult stage, and they are available commercially, and they act as anti-juvenile hormone or anti-excision hormone. Also, it's so important for us to use or try to use insect repellents, which are chemical cause insect to move away from plant or repel the insects, such as to use contact stimuli repellents. These like dust, granule, oils, leaf hair, spine wax that repel insects so far from or far from the plant, or auditory repellents. These employ sound to aware of insects, and visual repellents to use yellow light color act as a visual repellent of insects. Also, we have chemical repellents like oil of citrona and pyrethrum, and commonly used to or as repellents for pests. Insect antiphedants. Antiphedants are chemicals that inhibit feeding the pest on the plant but not kill them, while the insect will be killed from starvation. Some botanical extracts have served as antiphedants. Antiphedants do not harm beneficial or microorganisms, beneficial insects, and also produce no phytotoxicity or pollution to the environment. A new trend also, and it's used since many years, really, an intense work on plant extracts have been raised from Africa, especially because of the drawback of synthetic pesticide on agroecosystem. Interest in botanical insecticide, between parentheses, plant extracts, and pest management continues to grow. Over 2,000 species of plants are known to have some insecticidal activities. Using plant extracts to control pests could result in reducing environmental pollution, eliminating toxicity to humans, and preserving non-target organisms and beneficial insects, which are so important to us. The neem tree is the most promising plant species being utilized for synthesis of botanical insecticide against more than 200 insect pests. Botanical insects are many, and the most important ones are neem, nicotine, retinone, pyrethrum, and limonene. And the biological control, this is my area of interest, really. Biological control has a great potential for use against pests based on the abundance of potential bioagents that created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. Biological control is an ecological approach that provides environmental sound, economical pest management, and safe alternative methods for pest control. Many scientists or researchers consider biological control as the core of integrated pest management program because 98% of insects are naturally controlled by natural enemies, or let's say by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created these natural enemies, and humans just do their efforts to control only 2%. We can, or biological control can be done through conservation. Conservation of natural enemies just in two ways: to prevent applying pesticide, not to kill these natural enemies, by growing flowering plants, between two parentheses, habitat manipulation. Also, classical biological control, introduction of natural enemies from outside, for example, outside Jordan, outside, or to a new location. Augmentation, rearing and releasing of natural enemies. And the most important, natural enemies: predator, parasitoids, weed killers, and pathogens. And the microbial control, it was before as a part of biological control as pathogens, while nowadays some scientists or researchers consider it as a separate method of integrated pest management control. and using microbial control agents, such as to use bacteria, fungi, nematodes, and viruses. And in many of my, or in some of my research, I have to use, or I have already used bacteria and fungi in order to control some important pests in Jordan. And the most important bacterium is Bacillus thuringiensis. Bacillus thuringiensis in Jordan was so effective against the cereal leaf miner, and also against the four-army worm that invaded Jordan or introduced to Jordan in 2020. And it was tested against at least 3,000 species, whether tested in the laboratory or in the field. PET is highly toxic and specific to the insect. Then Bacillus thuringiensis is ideally suited for incorporation into integrated pest management program. Also to use the fungi or the entomopathogenic fungi. The most important one is Beauveria bassinia, which constitutes 1/3 of all fungus species developed for control of pests at the global scale. The using of nematodes and the using of viruses also as a microorganism, as microbial control. Viruses in Africa is intensively used since 2017 in order to control the four-army worm on maize or corn. I have just 3, 4, 5 minutes to finish. And now let's legal control or quarantine. It refers to the role played by the government in trying to stop the entry or spread of pests into an area within the same country or into the country via inspection, quarantine, or destruction of plant material. Quarantines include inspection in port of entry, inspection in the exporting country, or importation from pest-free country in order to save on the use of intense use of pesticide. A quarantine regulation do exist, but their enforcement is still poorly implemented in many countries worldwide. And genetic control, or by using sterile insect technique. Sterile insect technique is an alternative to the use of pesticide for insect pests, and it is an ecologically safe method for area-wide control. And here, so simply, just to bring the insect, mass rear them, sterile them, and then release them. Then once the male will mate with female, then unfertilized egg will produce, then no progeny will come out of this mating process. And gene silencing technology, this is, from my opinion, is a new technology to be added to integrate pest management approach or tactics. Gene silencing technology, the infestation by insect in general, is mediated by their ability to locate a host or to locate a mate, typically achieved by the olfactory detection of pheromones. The olfactory co-receptor gene, ORCO, play a significant role in crop selectivity and mate location, thus disturbing the reproduction process in whole. Deleting or silencing ORCO gene via RNA interference has been shown the potential to inhibit and prevent insect response to pheromones, which could provide a novel approach for developing insect control methods. And I read 2 or 3 articles about this issue, and they are trying to make a gene silencing in the red palm weevil to prevent it from locate or find the palm tree. And the last method is the geographical information system, which is so important for us to utilize geographical information system in integrated pest management program. As I integrate a geographical information system designed to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, manage, and present geographical data. What I would like to say here, if we use a geographical information system and I know, then I will know the exact infestation areas or fields, whether in any country, whether Jordan or outside Jordan, and just let the farmer or tell the farmer via email or via phone call or WhatsApp that your field is infested, just go there in this direction or in this direction on that spot, and you will find an infestation biopest and apply them without just make phone to the farmer and inform them, then will facilitate the detection or early detection of the infestation. However, in conclusion, and simply, 4 of my studies in Jordan were conducted in issues related to integrated pest management issues. There are adoption of integrated pest management by fruit trees growers in Jordan, the first one. The second one, adoption or adoption rate, let's say, of integrated pest management by vegetable grower in Jordan. Also, in the indiscriminate use and proper application of pesticide by Jordanian vegetable and fruit trees growers. And the last one on the adoption, and if there is any barrier to adopt biological control by vegetable and fruit tree growers in Jordan. In conclusion, for all of these 4 studies, what we found is education is positively and significantly linked or correlated with the adoption of new agriculture technologies, new innovations in agriculture, like adoption of integrated pest management, adoption of biological control, and reduce, or the attitude to, or willing to reduce the use of pesticides. And the second point, what to be mentioned, that age is correlated negatively with the adoption of integrated pest management, adoption of biological control, and also to, or the farmers wouldn't like to reduce the use of pesticides. And the last point that I have to mention is, once a farmer or all farmers that were involved in integrated pest management programs or biological control programs or a training course in the correct use of pesticides have positive attitude and correlated positively with the adoption of these new agricultural innovations and technologies, and would like to reduce the use of synthetic and dangerous pesticides in their farms. And finally, thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Firas. Thank you very much for this informative presentation. Honestly, I enjoy it.
Thank you.
So now we can open the floor for questions. Isra, I cannot see the people if there is hands on. Can you help me on that?
دكتورة معاكي.
إذا في لأنه أنا ما بقدر أشوف فاتحة من الموبايل على الداتا.
ما حداش رافع إيده بصراحة، مش عارفة.
أوكي.
حد عنده أي أسئلة؟
في الدكتورة رافعة ايدها.
I'm giving the floor to the people first, Doctor. So
I know.
If there is no question from the participant so far, I mean, they might thinking about the question. The application of this sterile insects. I mean, you mentioned, I mean, you mentioned that it was applied in Jordan, right? I mean,
no. In sterile male technique, hasn't been applied in Jordan yet, but it's applied in the West Bank, if I can say. And they use it against the Ceritatis capitata, the Mediterranean fruit fly. And some insects or sterile insects came to Jordan via wind current, and we got benefits of some of these individual insects that reached to the west border in Jordan. But in Jordan, I don't think so far that they apply this such a technology, and I don't think so that they will apply it in the future.
But Professor, you applied the fungus and the bacteria for certain treatment, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for which specific area in Jordan did you apply it? I mean, and how effective it was?
Yeah, it is a good question from you, Doc. Really, I tested Bacillus thuringiensis in 4 of my studies in order to control the cereal leaf miner, which is so serious and destructive pest on wheat and barley in the south part of Jordan, and the results were so amazing and effective. But using Bacillus thuringiensis showed 80% mortality of the larvae or the pest. If we compare it with many pesticides, it was more effective than half of the pesticides that were used against this pest in Jordan. This is concerning Bacillus thuringiensis. Also, a master student of mine at the time being tested Bacillus thuringiensis against a newly invaded insect, that's the 4-arm worm, against corn that invaded Jordan in 2020. And the result also was so promising, and the Bacillus thuringiensis was killed all the larvae. This is in a lab experiment. In 8 to 9 days, all the larvae were killed. And I have, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with a colleague, and he is with us today, Professor Khaled Al-Absi, and we have, inshallah, another student. It might be within the coming 2 months, and the first one on lab, and the other student we will here to go further to apply Bacillus thuringiensis or the fungus Beauveria vaccinia in the field, and see if also there is any efficiency for these agent or microbial
Impact of the insecticide and pesticide on the environment itself. So such approach, it's really required in nowadays. The pest management, pest integrated management, it's really required. I can see one hands up, Dr. Anwar Haddad.
Yes, Doctor.
تفضل دكتور.
مساء الخير. Good evening for everybody. Thank you, Dr. Firas, for this very informative lecture. And I'm working in the palm date sector. I'm the chairman of the Jordan Dates Association. And we are very or highly interested in the red weevil problem in Jordan. And some effort has been we try to start actually with the University, Balka University, and NCARE or NARC nowadays. regarding the viral treatment of the insect itself, and with the cooperation from Canada, a university from Canada. But unfortunately, we did not complete with that effort for some reason in the university. I would like to hear how this could be the potential of this kind of treatment in eradication of this weevil from Jordan. As far as you know, it's attacking the farms, especially in the northern part and eastern part of Jordan, but not yet, fortunately, not to Ghorsafi, not to Aqaba, and but now it is invading actually the Karama area, which is the central area for date production. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Engineer Anwar Haddad. I'm happy to have you in our seminar today. However, I think 1 month ago, I sent a review article with Professor Shebli to Engineer Shada to let you know if I don't know if you see this review or not. However, the problem of red balm weevil is a big problem whether in Jordan or Gulf countries, and so important for us. Some efforts are done in Jordan, but I do not think so that these efforts were enough to at least to make this pest below the economic threshold level. This pest is so difficult to be controlled because the early detection of the pest is not easy. And in Europe, they are using training dogs in order to detect the chemical detection. However, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm ready to visit you to discuss. Until now, on the red balm weevil, I think bacteria and fungi were effective against this pest, but the most important problem, how to let these, for example, bacteria and fungi to go deep in these tunnels, and some tunnels may be 50 centi to 100 centi, 1 meter depth, and that tree. I do know, and it's a big question, and here questionable if the using of virus is efficient in controlling the red balm weevil, taken into account that the most promising results were so efficient in controlling the pest, the fall armiform in maize. I don't know, we can sit together and discuss. I don't know if you have partners from Balka Applied University. If you would like, I can visit you to your office and discuss if you need any further information. We have the most recent review article on the red palm weevil. I sent already it to you, and we can discuss about this issue to see if the using viruses is efficient or effective, or could have any promising result or not.
We discuss the protocol actually, which we are following nowadays. Next week, we are going to sign an agreement with the Ministry of Agriculture and one of the actually initiative companies regarding the early detection of the weevil. So it will be you'll be most welcome in our premises in Amman. Otherwise, we may visit you. So
I don't know if the volume, the voice is okay or not.
Have you in our
Dr.
association?
Anwar, we cannot.
We are actually open to discuss this issue with you. Your Mota University was one of the early responded universities to our recommendation to have a department for palm in the university. So thank you again for clarification, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Oh, okay. One more, excuse me, Dr. Hinda Al-Mahmoudi, I would like just to mention one important point for Engineer Anwar Haddad. You said that we have a private company in Jordan, I think in Jebel Hussein, and it's owned by some people on the West Bank, or you mean another one? Because they are working, because they are working on geographical information system, and they invited me many times in order to share or to come and sit with them. They are and the geographical information systems will known lead to early detection of the red palm weevil. Also, all of your efforts are highly appreciated, and inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will meet together soon. My phone, I don't know if my phone is with you, but
no, we have it, doctor. We have it.
We can inshallah sit together and discuss, and I'm ready for anything and all of my efforts for you without any other things.
Thank you very much.
Great, Professor. It's so nice to hear it. Just if may I add to what have been said, Dr. Anwar, you know about the International Center for Bioscience and Agriculture, right? We do have
again, please. Could you repeat?
ICBA,
ICBA.
the International Center for Bioscience and Agriculture, and my colleagues who are working on the early detection of the red weevil. So there is a huge program that started a few years ago by a decision from all government, including Jordan, and it is led by FAO. ICBA is part of it, and I believe there is colleagues from Jordan as well. They are working on this early detection and the integrated management of the red weevil as well. We do have an experiment running in our field. You know, we have a very old experiment, 20 years old experiment on date palm with different varieties, and we have this issue, and our colleagues are looking at a sort of integrated approach for limiting the effect of this red weevil and the early detection using drones and other technology. I'm not a specialist, but my colleague, I don't know if you are in touch with them, or I can easily put you in touch with them if you need any.
If you please, because unfortunately nobody contact us regarding this program, and it will be my pleasure. Okay, also. By the way, indirectly, we are cooperated with ICBA through the Khalifa Award
exactly.
prize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you are part of our friends and sponsors along all the way along during the last 6 years. I hope if we could contact together and see how we make up.
Sure. We will. Sure. I mean, you have my contact, and I can put you in touch with my colleagues, because I'm not the one leading it. It's my colleagues.
Yeah,
so
I know. Just your facilitator help us in this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and Dr. Reda, he already met our DG during the latest Khalifa Award conference a few months ago, and they already discussed about.
By the way, we will have this year on the 18th of October the fourth festival. So you are invited. Everybody is invited personally to join.
Yeah, I believe one of our colleague will be attending. I believe we received the invitation.
We have the symposium, and which is coming with the festival. We will be very pleased to have all of you
Sure. This is great. I mean, this is the I mean, the outcome of such webinars, etc. It's to discuss how we can help each other and for further collaboration. We do have a lot of collaboration since years in Jordan with the NARC, with the Mercy Corps through international projects. We do have with the Professor Rida. He's a good friend since long time as well, and we do have a collaboration with many institutions. So it will be always a pleasure to strengthen this collaboration and to help in a way or other. So please let me know or contact me, and I will put you in touch with my colleagues, and they can give you further information about this program for the red weevil.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Engineer Anwar Haddad. Thank you.
Any further question for Professor Firas? I mean, it's very interesting. He raised very interesting points. I mean, I thought we'll have many questions. I believe it was so clear. That's why the people they didn't have really many questions. It was really very informative, very detailed. So happy to see such approach, because we really need it in our Arab country to minimize the use of the pests and chemicals. And honestly, I see that the pest integrated pest management is one of the best solution in nowadays. Isra, if you can see other hands, because I cannot see other hands. Yeah, we have Dr. Fadila. Yeah, how are you? Since long time.
Alhamdulillah. Because we didn't met a long time ago. Yes, right. Good morning. Allah يخليك. الله يحفظك. Good morning. I would like to thank you, Doctor, for your presentation. Unfortunately, I didn't attend the presentation from beginning because I have a problem with the internet. I attend the last part, but I want to ask you about, first of all, I want to ask you to send this presentation for my friends also, which they are interested to work in this field. This is one. Second, I want to ask you if about the genetic modification for these type of disease. Did you do anything related to that in your lab, or just you
genetic
any genetic modification to come over these diseases?
Let's say to pests, because pests is include diseases and many other.
Sorry, because I wasn't just talking about diseases.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadila. The first point, Professor Shibli, and she is hearing you now, Engineer Isra. Inshallah, she will distribute my seminar to all of you people.
Thank you.
This is the first point. The second point to be mentioned, that is any effort in Jordan in let's say genetically modified plants, whether against pests or against drought. I don't think so. That we are, and I'm trying since 10 years to let's say raise my voice when we met with the different universities or ministers like Professor Shibli, Mahmoud Dweri, and many others, in order to just my hope in this life, just to develop any resistant plant varieties, whether against insects or diseases or nematodes or any, or let's say we are at the initial steps. We have to sit together to try to develop any resistant plant varieties against any pest. Huge efforts have been done in Egypt. I'm happy. I'm so happy for that. In Jordan, I don't think so far. So I know that any of us, instead of there is a very excellent people, scientific project in order to, for example, insert bacillus thuringiensis in any crop in order to protect plants against pests and save or get rid or reduce or suppress the use of this huge of pesticides. I'm so sorry to inform you that, but I don't think so that any efforts in Jordan were made to develop.
Well, this is Doctor. I think yani, it is not too difficult or difficult task to do, because I know that in our region, I mean, or in Arabic country, we have very good people who can work in modification. Maybe they think that yani, I think the money wise and the regulation also for using the plant or the crops after you modify it. Maybe this is the two things that is restricted us from going in this, but at least we can try, you know, in our labs. And I think if there is big project which is the Arabic country can share some of them with the scientists, some of them with the money, some of them with the labs. We can create something, or we can get something that is solve the problem of some, not just for insects, just for other diseases in our region. And I don't think this is difficult if we work together.
Dr. Fadila, thank you very much for your really an excellent point. This is my hope, and this is what I'm looking for. But here in Jordan, this is my opinion. I'm keeping myself so far from the government. Or I used to tell one statement in each seminar or workshop that there is no real or in-depth cooperation among the different institutions of Jordan. What I mean by different institutions of Jordan, or institutions, universities, ministries, research centers, all of our efforts in Jordan, and I don't know in the other Arab countries, are completely scattered. We have to sit together and work hand in hand. It's not so difficult for us to develop any cultivar or variety resistance to any pest or disease, let's say. As you said, the money is there. We have a good science people, highly ranking people, but the scattered efforts, and so easy just to select entomologists and entomologists with a plant breeder, with a chemist one, and then to set together to have a financial support with a good amount of money, and then we can start. As I said to you before, that Masr, or in Egypt, they have developed already many resistant varieties against
Thank you, Professor Firas. It's really amazing to continue the discussion. Thank you, Dr. Fadila, for your question. And as mentioned by Professor Firas, his presentation, of course, after his permission, will be shared with the Aranina groups. So Israchi will be taking care of that. If there is no further question, we would like to thank you very much, Dr. Firas, for a really interesting presentation, for your time, for the discussion, and hopefully we will meet physically soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So with that, we can close our session for today. Thank you very much again, and thank you for your time, Professor Firas, and for the participant. We really enjoyed, and we got a lot of information. And I believe there will be further question directly to Professor Firas, maybe through emails. If you want further information or collaboration with
I'm ready for anything.
Feel free. I believe if you don't mind it, Professor Firas, they can feel free to contact you directly. Thank you very much. And with this, we can close our today session. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Okay, thank you very much for your efforts and time with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Hope to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.